Hello everybody, and I'm here again to remind you of your car's extended warranty. Hi everyone, welcome back to Toons Reviews. Today, we're going to be talking about the fragrances I've been wearing most often. You know, this transitionary period in New York and Western North New York, whatever the hell we are. We're Western New York technically, but like we're upstate Western New York, yeah. It's a weird thing. Rochester. Anyways, the transitioning period between winter and spring is always a very interesting experience here because there are days, literally days, where there's a difference between like 40 degrees. One day it could be snowing and it's 30 out. The next day, or maybe 2 days later, it's 70 and sunny. So it's just a very bizarre experience to have. So I'm mostly in the realm of heavier fragrances still, but there's a couple that are like heavier but fresher, or just maybe starting to lean more towards fresh. Like the number 8 spot that I'm going to showcase is definitely a spring and summer fragrance, but I've been wearing it more because we've had a few days that have been 60s and 70s, even high 70s. And I'll pull that one out for those occasions. But for the most part, there's still some heavy fragrances in here. And again, it's because, you know, even though we're in April, we're experiencing snow. Just a couple days ago, there was snow on the ground. So here we go, top 8, and I will explain what fragrance they are and what they do for me and kind of what they smell like and all that fun jazz. So keep it tuned. Okay, first up is a fragrance house, which is doing a reboot. So get on it if you have not heard the news. Fort and Manle is doing kind of a reboot of their packaging, and I believe that they're going to be kind of going in a different direction as far as what I saw for a statement that was put out for their PR release. So this is Fatih Sultan Mehmed by Fort and Manle, and this is my favorite fragrance from the house. If you were to look at the note breakdown on Fragrantica and you are a man who is afraid of florals, I just want you to know that this is like one of the most perfectly unisex fragrances I've ever tried. If you're afraid of going into the floral direction of fragrances and you want to, I think that this is actually a really great introductory to what a floral or floriental type of fragrance can provide you without it being too bombastic or too much. And this is just a really, really beautiful rose fragrance that kind of ends up reminding me of like the younger sibling of Noir de Noir. There's not a chocolate that's super prominent, if any, but it reminds me of kind of like a really beautiful red wine with rose, and there's some sparkly nuances. There's like almost like garden type nuance to it, and it's just so beautiful, and it's kind of evocative of what I would think spring would smell like in a bottle. A romantic spring, like a Shakespearean spring, where you're falling in love and, you know, death and terror and destruction comes later in the play, but at this particular moment in the Shakespearean experience of spring, everything is about love and romance and lovemaking and all that. That's kind of what this fragrance does for me. So that is Fort and Manle, Fatih Sultan Mehmed. Number 7. That's right, we got a fragrance from Jeremy on here. So fragrance 1, I am going to be the first to say that I absolutely love Office. I wear Office so much, it's not even funny. And I liked Date okay, but it was like a little too potent for me. This, though, Unisex, is very similar to Date, but I think there's a little bit more powdery vanilla going on in it, and it's a little bit more subtle, and it doesn't possess that oud. So, Unisex has a beautiful pear and vanilla thing going on in it, and I absolutely love this. This has been garnering me a lot of compliments, especially from my fiance. She loves this, and it just cuts through that cold air really well, with it still smelling very sexy and pleasant and inviting, and that pear note is very prominent for at least the first few hours on my skin. So I feel like that kind of playfulness is kind of representative of the changing of the season and the more brighter days, and I've been really, really enjoying wearing unisex, so that is coming in at number 7. Coming in at number 6 is, yeah, what a lovely fragrance. I absolutely love Intense Cafe by Montale, and that was a staple for me for like 4 years, 5 years straight. I just wore a ton of Intense Cafe. Could have been considered one of my signature scents. But when my last bottle had become empty, I decided to just go ahead and go for the Ristretto Intense Cafe. There's a little bit more black coffee in it, and it's not necessarily too drastically different of a fragrance. I would say that there's just a tinge more black coffee rather than creamy coffee, and it lasts and projects like a smidge more. But really, they're both pretty similar. You could kind of exchange one for the other, and I don't think you'd be missing too much from either experience. But it does do that rose and coffee experience very well, and I love this fragrance. And again, it's one of those that really reminds me of that change of the weather. You got those beautiful floral in there mixed in with the gourmand elements. I'm a huge gourmand lover. It's my favorite category of fragrance. And what else can I say? You know, there's good memories that are attached to this DNA of fragrance for me. So I really have been enjoying wearing Ristretto and Intense Cafe. Coming in at number 5 is probably currently my second favorite Amouage fragrance, maybe third. But yeah, this has just been so enjoyable for me to wear lately. This is Amouage Boundless. And this is a very spicy tobacco vanilla. And I get a bit of a root beer fizziness. There's a bit of a root beer fizzy spiciness in the opening. But I really, really do love this. It also kind of reminds me of Roja's Enigma a little bit in the opening. So a mixture of things going on, you know. It's got a little bit of that like cumin from Overture thing. It's got a little bit of like a tobacco vanilla DNA, and it's also got a bit of a Creation E or Enigma DNA. So it's like you took those 3 fragrances and mashed them into Boundless. And I love all 3 of those fragrances, so I definitely have been loving wearing this, and I just think that this is beautiful. And it's been one that I've been wearing more for the colder days, you know, those days where it's still snowing, even though we're in spring again, or, you know, in the 40s or low 50s, I'll wear this a lot. So yeah, absolutely wonderful fragrance. Love this stuff. It's not going to be anything like too challenging or too unique coming from the Amouage house, but they did put out a people-pleasing fragrance and did it well. So that's Boundless. Next on the list is a beautiful fragrance from Andy Tower, and this is quickly climbing to top ranks for me. I think that this might either be my new favorite or tied, you know, with PHI Une Rose de Kandahar, which has been my favorite Andy Tower fragrance for about 6 or 7, maybe 8 years. Sundowner is his newest release, and it is gorgeous. It is absolutely gorgeous. I love this stuff. I mean, love. This is gonna be in the running for something that I would consider to be like my new fall staple. Naso Mato's Boronda is, you know, that fragrance that takes that position and has for years now, and I think that this one might either kind of scoot it to the second place or at least be tied with it. If you're a fan of boozy fragrances and you're a fan of cinnamon and woods, this is a cinnamon, woody, boozy bomb, and it is fantastic. Absolutely gorgeous. I've gotten a ton of compliments with this. There's a really beautiful apricot note in this, which gives a softness and a bit of a fruitiness if you get kind of hot, because I wore this on a day that was 77 degrees, and I noticed that the hotter I got, the more it projected some of those fruity nuances, and it was really beautiful with that cinnamon. So this is going to be another situation where I'm going to try wearing this in maybe like the cooler days of the summer, you know, like the 75 to 80 degree days, and see what it does for me the same way that I use Musk Ravageur. So love this stuff. It's gonna quickly climb the ranks for me for probably one of my most used fragrances from henceforth. So highly recommend checking it out if you haven't. Coming in at number 3 is a fragrance from Profumum Roma, which is one of my favorite houses of all time. I don't know how they don't get more press and YouTube. I really, really don't. Or the community in general. As far as like forums go and whatnot. This is just one of the best houses there is out there, hands down. Probably, I'll tell you why. Probably because they don't really give handouts. It's probably why you don't hear about them too much from other reviewers, because A, they're expensive, they're niche, and B, they do not give fragrances out to be reviewed. So, that being said, anyways, Dolce & Fondo has been in my top 10 favorite fragrances of all time for about 8 years or so, and I've gone through multiple bottles of it. There's plenty of other fragrances from the house that I absolutely adore. Aqua de Sale is fantastic. It's like my favorite aquatic. But this one is a newer love. I didn't really give it a chance until recently. I sampled it, and I was like, maybe I love it, maybe I don't. And I sampled it again like a month later. I was like, you know what, I love it. And I bought it. And here we are. You may not be able to tell, but there's a good solid 10 ml gone from this bottle since I've purchased it brand new at the end of January. So I've used this quite a bit, but I'm still continuing to use this quite a bit with this weather because I do feel like it really matches that springtime feeling, because there's a lot of cocoa and it's very cool. Anyways, the name of the fragrance is Cerezo, and this is like a cool chocolate ganache or a cool chocolate pudding that's just like from a 5-star restaurant. It just smells so beautiful, but there's a cooling effect to it. It's not warming, if that makes sense. There aren't warm spices to it. It's not cozy per se. It's got a cooling effect. So even though it was winter, I was wearing this quite a bit, and again, I'm liking that cooling effect that the chocolate provides for these spring days. So Cerezo from Profumum Roma has been a fragrance I've been wearing a ton of, and I highly recommend it if you are a gourmand lover. Coming in at number 2 is a fragrance that was a long-lost lover. I owned the original bottle of this years ago, and I only just decided to check it out again. Yeah, I'm glad I did. I'm really, really glad I did, because I love Orange Blossom done well. And this is a gourmand Orange Blossom. This is from the House of Kilian, and I'm sure you could all guess by now that this is Love Don't Be Shy. And this is magnificent. It's just such a beautiful, sexy, vanilla marshmallow, fruity pebble orange blossom concoction. It is just so gorgeous. And I'm telling you right now that these two, the number 2 spot and the number 1 spot are going to be like the most basic, hyped fragrances that we see in the community a lot of the time. Love is, ever since Rihanna came out saying that this is what she wears, everyone and their mother decided that they had to jump on the train for love, right? And now we hear about it so often, but it's for good reason. It is beautiful. And that goes for my number 1 choice as well, which we'll put her down and pick up this. Number 1, Baccarat Rouge 540. I've said it time and time again. I have basically claimed this as my signature scent. I wear this so often, it's not even funny. It's a dumb reach for me, it's something that everyone around me enjoys, and it makes me feel good. So these two I've been wearing a ton of. I've only owned Love for a month, and I've already gone through like 15 ml of this because I wear it so often. So these two are the ones I wear the most as of right now. And yeah, if you want something that's people-pleasing and sexy and going to get you compliments, look no further as far as niche goes. I mean, seriously, if you like sweeter scents, that is, and you like the more gourmand elements of fragrances, check these out. I hope you all enjoyed. I'm so glad to be back, and there's going to be plenty of content coming your way over the next few months for spring and summer, and I'm looking forward to being here with you all. So thanks for tuning in, and I will see you all soon. Bye.